What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye coming to you again with another review. This time, the nightmare that was Bournemouth versus Arsenal. Quite frankly, I was supposed to do this review last night. I was so angry. Yesterday generally was a pretty bad day for me personally, and that was just a little extra dig in there. It was just a long day yesterday. But having said all that, it is what it is. Believe it or not, this is supposed to be my birthday week, so let's try and cheer the fuck up and attempt to construct whatever the hell that was last night. How do I go about dissecting this thing? I don't know what it is with us. When we seem to have one of these South Coast trips due, or when due to go to the South Coast, we seem to produce a performance like that. I told you guys last year, for me, the defining game last year was Boxing Day. Last season, was Boxing Day 2015. Where we had to go to Southampton, and then conjured up this, I don't know what you would call it, this ridiculous performance that ended up losing the game 4-0. It was disgraceful. Quite frankly, it was embarrassing. At that point, I realized we weren't going on to win the league. Now, you'll probably watch this and think, well, that's unusual, because I think a couple of weeks later, we ended up top. But it made me think to myself, if we're capable of losing to a team, with all due respect to Southampton fans, they're not a title, and they never have been a title fighting team, or at least not for a long time. So if we're losing 4-0 to people like that, how are we then going to go on and win any kind of title? So at that point, I realized that we weren't going to win that title. And yesterday, watching the game, and I was watching it, and for 50 minutes, I was watching us playing this, 50, 60 minutes, I was watching us playing this ridiculous, naive football that I thought we'd left behind. And it just makes me think to myself, so throughout everything, no matter what happens, we are still essentially the same basic weak mentality team that is led under Wenger. I said this before. I used this example before. I am a clumsy guy, right? Every single time I drop a phone, and I used to blame it on Samsung. I used to say, oh, that Samsung just have a weak screen, and, this, that, and the other. At some point, you have to realize, well, if you're changing all the parts and you're changing the phone and you're still breaking the screen, and you actually change your phone to a different type of your phone and it's still happening, maybe it's you. And the way I see it is all the components and parts of Arsenal are changing. But there's one constant that's still there, that still makes the decisions, that still makes the bad decisions, such as starting Aaron Ramsey, for example. And that is one man that decides these things, that decides all, it seems, in Arsenal, and that is Arsene Wenger. I don't know what happened yesterday. So I said to you guys when I did my preview video, prepare yourself. I was very explicit because I knew it would happen. Prepare yourself, because that somehow, some way, Ramsey is starting that game. And I did say that. I was very clear. Prepare yourself. Right? What even I admit I didn't expect was to him to start on the right, which it looked like he was supposed to be doing, but then didn't do. It was one of the most disjointed performances I've ever seen Arsenal play for an hour of football. They played like they didn't know each other. I think that's the best way of describing it. Like there was no cohesion there. There was no understanding there. At some points, Ramsey and Alexis were arguing. It was it was just a really weird performance, almost a shivering. Like it sent a really cold shiver up my spine watching that performance. Bellerin, apparently, it turned. I'm a bit more forgiving of Bellerin now because I heard today that the man wasn't even fit for this game, that he was struggling and nursing an injury, and Wenger took a gamble for some weird reason and decided to play Bellerin there, even though Maitland Miles was just sitting on the bench, ready to go. He took a gamble on him and decided to go with it. I don't know. I don't even know where to start here, because Bellerin was at fault, I would say, for at least two of the goals. And then Xhaka was at fault for the damn penalty. It's just clumsy. And you know what? I'll be honest. The officiating was bad, but it wasn't necessarily from the ref. It was more from the linesman. I thought the ref did fine yesterday. I can't even blame the ref. I don't even have that as a weapon. It was just a horrible, horrendous performance from top to bottom. I mean, if I'm to go through the goals, I mean, Bellerin just left flipping Charlie Daniels. It's like, who the hell is Charlie Daniels? So much room and space to not only have the ball and collect the ball, but then you bitch Bellerin, and then obviously because of Petr Cech, anyone knows if you want to beat Petr Cech, make sure you go in the inside post. Slid it past his inside post. 1-0. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Then Xhaka, who, and I told you guys, and I got a lot of fucking heat for that, because people seem to think that because you spent 35 million on a player, you can't criticize this player. I don't give a flying fuck. I'll say it how I see it. Xhaka's in anticipation for all his glorious passing skills, his anticipation sucks. And for me, that means if his anticipation sucks, his reading of the game sucks. And we saw that again in this game, which it was just incredible. His positional play was fine. But then as soon as we started being under any type of pressure, you would think to yourself, all right, Xhaka, now move with the ball or try and anticipate where it will go. That's what a defensive midfielder does. He just looked clumsy and oafish. And was it any real surprise that he gave the penalty away? Not in my opinion, it wasn't. It was just foolish, naive, stupid defending. And I'll tell you what, I watched that first half, and I just turned the channel in disgust. I didn't even want to know what Thierry was saying. I just turned the channel in disgust. Then as soon as I turned it back, I was like, all right, cool. Let me continue to watch this. So I watched it, and I watched it, and I watched it, and I thought to myself, no, we are really, okay. We are continuing to be that bad, concede a flipping third goal, and I'm like, please tell me we're not losing 3-0 to fucking Bournemouth. Tell me we're playing Man City, and you know, I'll try and feel better. Or tell me we're playing Chelsea, and no, I'm looking. We are still losing 3-0 to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, for fuck's sake. I was like, what on earth is happening? And then come to find out that they're chanting in the crowd, because I was hearing it very faintly on the TV, because by this time I was like home, I was watching on TV, and I was hearing it very faintly on the TV, but then apparently they were saying some stuff like, can we play you every week? And I just think to myself, you're going to let Bournemouth fans chant, can we play you every week? Oh my gosh. So apparently the Arsenal fans, who, by the way, shout out to the Arsenal fans, were brilliant yesterday. Even when we were losing 3-0, they were brilliant yesterday, right? They were so annoyed and frustrated. And because Bournemouth is one of those small, very tight, almost hybrid-esque, but even a bit more intimate in terms of the way the fans are situated to the pitch. So when fans chant, the players can clearly hear it. So the Arsenal fans were saying, this is fucking embarrassing, this is fucking embarrassing, which it was. I don't think there was a single Arsenal fan, I don't care if you're the most passionate AKB in the world, there was not a single Arsenal fan that wasn't looking at that game thinking it's fucking embarrassing, right? Because heaven forbid Wenger gets up and motivates them. So clearly the fans had to do that. So they kept chanting, this is embarrassing, this is embarrassing. And bless Alexis. For me, this is why before I made a mistake with you guys. So I was asked a question once about, oh, well, who would I have? Would I rather that Ozil stayed or would I rather that Alexis stayed? And for some deranged reason, I picked Ozil. But what I realized that Alexis brings is even when, like yesterday, he scored a goal, but generally his influence is more than just assists or goals. It's about sparking life into that team. And I think Alexis's pride heard those chants and was like, you know what? Fuck this. Literally, fuck this. So at one point, he just grabbed the ball, and I think he took on a couple of players, and I thought, okay, Alexis seems like he's on it now. Shortly after that, he scored. I thought, okay, maybe we could salvage something out of this, just maybe. Then Wenger finally brings on Perez. Perez gets a goal. So, okay, 3-2. Maybe, just maybe, we might be able to, because stupidly, it's the hope that gets you. I stupidly thought, maybe we might just get a couple of goals and nick this one. But then the third goal took ages to get there, and ages to get there. And fair play to Giroud. Giroud played amazingly well yesterday. People don't want to recognize that, but he put on a couple of assists, and people forget that, and then got a very important, I told you about Giroud, he gets important goals. He got a very important third goal, which without it, we would have been fucked. We would have been fucked. And at least he salvaged a third goal. Despite my feeling now, despite the title of this video, I was celebrating, I was screaming. And then I sat back and I thought to myself, hold up. Did we just draw to fucking Bournemouth? And I'm celebrating the fact that we drew to Bournemouth. When, come the end of today, because I refused to support that team down the road, come the end of today, we could be very well be 11 points behind our supposed title rivals. 11 points. What the fuck am I celebrating for? Arsenal Football Club, man. And we're celebrating to Bournemouth. Fuck. If I'm going to have to mark all these players out of 10, check. 3 out of 10. I thought he was back to his poor self. I'm worried about Czech. I am worried about Czech. And maybe if Ospina, who I assume will play on Saturday, plays, we might need to look at that situation. Right back, Bellerin, poor, 1 out of 10. The worst game I've ever seen Bellerin play. A little bit more forgivable knowing that he was half fit. The worst game I've ever seen Bellerin play. Mustafi. Oh. See, this is what happens when I start to show faith in players and they let me down. A player that I've previously been very critical of. And people were like, oh, shit, what the fuck are you talking about? Da-da-da-da. Oh, Chris, you don't understand. You don't know what you're talking about. All right, cool. What the fuck did you do yesterday? 3 out of 10. Koscielny, 3 out of 10. Horrible performance. Monreal, I actually thought was the best out of the back 5. And even he, I'd give him 5 out of 10. In the middle, Coquelin. Oh my gosh, now that guy's injured. Which, by the way, that was the other story about yesterday. Koscielny, Bellerin, and Coquelin are injured. It's like, fuck my life. And the one time of the season Coquelin is injured, Elneny is in the damn African Nations Cup. It's still, you can't write this stuff. It's just typical Arsenal bullshit. Coquelin, 5 out of 10. Elneny, I don't give a damn what anyone tells me, 2 out of 10. 2. And the only reason I give him that 2 is because I saw him hit a nice pass. But aside from that, I thought he was horrendous yesterday. Horrendous yesterday. Ramsey, I'm going to come back to. I'm going to need a deep breath for Ramsey. Sanchez, for his sheer effort, desire, and spark. I should give the man of the match to Giroud. I give man of the match to Alexis Sanchez. For me, 9 out of 10. I thought was inspirational yesterday. Inspirational. And without him, we'd be mid-table. I completely agree with Claude. 9 out of 10. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. Iwobi, missing. There was that boy needs to learn to shoot. I love him, but he needs to learn to shoot because the rest of his play is good. Shooting is horrendous. 4 out of 10. I'm sorry, kid or not, 4 out of 10. Giroud, again, I don't care what anyone says. Fantastic yesterday. Absolutely fantastic. Plugging, trying, 8 out of 10. Aaron motherfucking Ramsey. Oh my, is it possible to give him minus? No way. One of the biggest wastes of space in the squad we have. Whenever he plays, it feels like we play with 10 men. Because for me, and I've said this before, and I keep getting heat, but people fail to give me an example. When is he creative? What does he do for Arsenal? I'm not talking about for Wales, for Arsenal. What does he do that is creative? What does he do that warrants a place on the team? He passes backwards. Anything he passes forwards, it doesn't get there. He can't seem to shoot no more. He can't score no more. He has no vision. Then he starts arguing with the best player on the pitch for some stupid reason that I'm not entirely sure what that's about. He is an utter waste of space. Utter waste of space. I argue with my boys every single summer whenever Ramsey's name comes up. And Barcelona, for some crazy reason, or Real Madrid, for some crazy reason, start talking about a stupid bid for him. For me, my gosh, I will build myself a car to drive Ramsey to get to an airport if that's what it means. I tell you, I would do anything to get rid of this guy at the club. There's one sale I wish would make some point this year. It's Ramsey. I think he's taking up the space for other people to develop, namely a Jack Wilshere, a John Torrell, any kind of midfielder you want, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. All three have better potential than Ramsey. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. -1. I thought he was horrendous yesterday. And when you're looking to some of your more experienced attacking players on the team, someone who's going to go and get you a goal, you're supposed to be looking towards someone like an Aaron Ramsey. And he was horrible yesterday. Horrible. What's he doing in the squad? What's his purpose? What does it serve? Nothing. Chambo came on, tried, didn't do much this time. Wasn't nearly as effective as his last cameo, and then this particular cameo was longer. I'd give him a 4 out of 10. Perez got himself a goal, looked to have helped change the game when he came on. 6 out of 10. The manager, flip me. For starting Ramsey, you're going to get seriously marked down. But at least, I forgot to rate Gabriel, who I actually came on and thought did well, steadied the ship a little bit. I'll give him a 6, maybe even 7. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. the manager, at least the subs he brought on helped to bring us back into the game. And for that reason, and for only that reason, I'll give him a 5 out of 10. But something needs to change, because we are making the same mistakes with supposedly the best squad we've ever had. So what is happening here? What is happening here? Something needs to badly change. And it's probably a blessing in disguise that we've got the FA Cup on my birthday weekend, because maybe we can just have an opportunity to look at other players, people like a Rob Holding, people like a Maitland-Niles, who might be able to put some pressure on some of these idiots. People like a Perez will have an opportunity to shine. People like an Ospina, as I mentioned earlier. We need something. Something, because this is not good enough. This, for me, is completely unacceptable. All right, I'm out of here. You guys listening to me for the first time, please do hit that subscribe button. Tell your people about it. Spread the word. Let as many people know about it as possible. Similarly, if you're on Twitter, do follow me at Colossal Chig. Hopefully, I would have calmed the fuck down by the time Friday comes. Friday will be my actual birthday. So I ain't going to tell you how old I am, just tell you I'm getting older. I'm old. That's all you need to know. Other than that, that's pretty much it from me. So I'm out of there. Peace.